I sat in the corner of my sister Olivia's bridal shower at the country club, watching her open gift after gift while her future mother-in-law Diane commented on the quality and taste of each item. The room was full of designer handbags, champagne flutes, and women who measured worth in labels and last names. "This is from Rachel," Olivia said, holding up my box. She opened it to reveal a custom cocktail dress in deep emerald silk with hand-beaded detail along the neckline. I'd spent 40 hours crafting every element specifically for her. "Oh," Diane said, examining it with careful neutrality. "How handmade. That's sweet, Rachel. Did you make this yourself?" "I did," I said. "Rachel has a little business," Olivia explained. "She makes dresses in her garage. It's like a hobby that makes money. Very entrepreneurial." She said it the way you describe a child's lemonade stand. Diane's friend Margaret leaned over. "A garage business? How quaint. My niece does something similar with jewelry at farmers markets." The other women smiled indulgently. I was the quirky sister with her cute little hobby, not a real professional like Olivia, who worked in pharmaceutical sales and was marrying Cameron, whose family owned luxury car dealerships. "It keeps her busy," my mother added. "Better than sitting around unemployed." I sipped my mimosa and said nothing. They had no idea that The Garage was a 12,000 square foot design studio in the fashion district. That my little business had revenue of $42 million last year. That I employed 63 people. That my dresses were worn by 3 Oscar winners, 2 princesses, and countless celebrities who valued discretion over publicity. I'd started in my garage 8 years ago, right out of design school. But I'd built something real through talent and relentless work. I kept a low public profile deliberately. My clients valued privacy and I valued creative control. My family knew I made dresses. They'd never asked for details. They saw the original garage studio and assumed I'd never graduated beyond it. "The thing about handmade items," Diane continued, "is they're charming, but not really appropriate for formal occasions. You need proper designers for that. Real fashion houses." She fingered the dress. "Though I suppose it might work for a casual garden party." The dress she was dismissing had taken 40 hours to construct. The beading alone was worth $3,000. The silk came from an Italian mill that only supplied to 5 designers worldwide. But she saw garage business and made assumptions. "Rachel's always been creative," Olivia said with affection. "She just never wanted the traditional career route. Some people aren't built for corporate life." Cameron's sister Victoria laughed. "I admire that. Having a little hobby business sounds relaxing. No pressure, no real stakes. Just making pretty things when you feel inspired." "Exactly," Diane agreed. "Not like running an actual company. That's real stress." I watched them pass the dress around, calling it sweet and personal, completely missing that every stitch represented world-class craftsmanship. "What will you wear to the wedding, Rachel?" Margaret asked. "Will you make something from your garage?" "I haven't decided yet." "You should go to a real store," Diane suggested kindly. "Nordstrom has lovely options. You want to look polished for photos. This is a significant wedding, 300 guests, prominent families. First impressions matter." Olivia opened more gifts. Crystal stemware from Tiffany. A cashmere throw from Hermes. A designer handbag from Diane. Each prompted elaborate thank yous. My handmade dress was set aside on a chair, forgotten. "I still think it's nice Rachel has her hobby," Diane said. "Cameron's cousin has a little Etsy shop. Makes candles, I think. These small businesses are charming. Not lucrative, but they keep people occupied. Rachel does quite well. My mother tried. She has regular customers." "Of course," Diane said warmly. "I'm sure the neighbors love having a seamstress nearby. So convenient for alterations." I was about to excuse myself when I saw movement outside the windows. A van was pulling into the driveway. A white van with Vogue printed on the side. My stomach dropped. They weren't supposed to be here until tomorrow. Build up. I'd been in talks with Vogue for 6 months about a feature story. They wanted to profile the industry's best-kept secret, designers who created red carpet fashion without publicity. After I'd dressed 3 actresses for the Oscars without public credit, Vogue's fashion editor had tracked me down. The feature was scheduled for next month. The shoot was supposed to happen tomorrow at my studio, not today at my sister's shower. I pulled out my phone. 3 missed calls from my PR manager and 2 texts. Urgent. Vogue moved timeline. They want to shoot today. Editor's choice. I gave them the country club address. I'm so sorry. They're bringing the September cover layouts. The cover, Rachel. You're the September cover. My hands shook. The September issue of Vogue was the most important issue of the year. The fashion Bible. The cover wasn't just recognition. It was coronation. Through the window, I watched a woman in black emerge from the van, followed by a photographer with equipment, and I recognized her even at a distance. Veronica Chong, Vogue's editor-in-chief. Rachel, you look pale, Olivia said. Are you okay? I'm fine. The country club manager appeared in the doorway, looking flustered. Excuse me, I apologize for interrupting, but there are people here from Vogue magazine asking for Rachel Torres? They're quite insistent. Every head turned to me. Vogue? Diane said, confused. Why would Vogue be looking for Rachel? The manager checked his clipboard. They're saying something about a cover story? The September issue feature. The room went silent. There must be some mistake, Margaret said. Vogue doesn't do stories about garage businesses. But Veronica Chong was already walking in, her presence somehow making the country club feel less impressive. She commanded attention the way truly powerful people do. Rachel, she said, crossing to me in air, kissing both cheeks. I'm so sorry for the schedule change. Editorial decided the September cover needed to be more dramatic, and we need to shoot today for our production timeline. She turned to the stunned women. I'm Veronica Chong, editor-in-chief of Vogue. You must be Rachel's family. How wonderful that we can celebrate both occasions, your shower and Rachel's cover feature. Olivia's mouth fell open. Diane looked struck. Cover feature? My mother said faintly. The September issue. Our most important issue of the year. Rachel is our cover story, the designer who dressed Hollywood in secret. We're profiling how she built a $40 million fashion empire while maintaining complete anonymity. 40 million? Diane whispered. Veronica pulled out her tablet and swiped to an image. This is the cover layout we're proposing. Rachel, I wanted your approval before we finalize. She turned the tablet to show the room. There I was on a Vogue cover mock-up, wearing one of my own designs, a structured black gown. The headline read, Rachel Torres, fashion's secret power player. I don't understand, Olivia said. Rachel makes dresses in her garage. She owns a 12,000 square foot studio in the fashion district, Veronica corrected gently. She employs over 60 people. Her client list includes A-list actresses, international royalty, and Fortune 500 executives who value discretion. She's dressed the last 3 Best Actress Oscar winners. You just didn't know it because Rachel doesn't take public credit. She swiped to another image. This dress? The green one everyone loved at the Academy Awards last year? Rachel designed it. This one from the Met Gala? Also Rachel. The gown Princess Alexandra wore to the Monaco State dinner? Rachel Torres. Margaret stared at the emerald dress still sitting abandoned on the chair. But that's just a homemade dress from her garage business. That dress, Veronica said, walking over to examine it, is extraordinary. The beadwork alone is museum quality. The construction is flawless. She looked at Olivia. This is worth approximately $8,000 at retail. Your sister gave you a couture gown as a shower gift. Revelation. The room remained frozen. Veronica's assistant had started setting up camera equipment, clearly intending to shoot here. I'm confused, Diane said. Rachel never mentioned any of this. She let us think she was just making dresses in a garage. I did start in a garage, I said quietly. 8 years ago. But things grew. I just never corrected your assumptions about where things stayed. Why wouldn't you tell us? Olivia asked. I tried to tell you. Multiple times. Last Christmas I mentioned hiring a production manager. You asked if that meant promoting someone from part-time to full-time. At Easter I said I was expanding internationally. You thought I meant selling on Etsy. You weren't listening to what I was saying. You were hearing what you'd already decided was true. Veronica's photographer took test shots. Veronica, the light here is perfect. Should we shoot some family context? The contrast between the country club setting and Rachel's actual status could be powerful. Rachel, what do you think? Veronica asked. It could add dimension. the designer who built an empire while her family thought she was running a hobby business. I looked at Olivia, at my mother, at all the women who'd spent the past hour dismissing my work as cute. Part of me wanted to say yes. But Olivia looked devastated, and this was her day. No, I said. This is Olivia's shower. Let's stick to the original plan and shoot at the studio tomorrow. Veronica nodded approvingly. Professional as always. We'll do preliminary interviews now and shoot tomorrow. She turned to her assistant. Call the studio and confirm for 10 a.m. She sat down next to me and pulled out a notepad. Rachel, let's discuss the cover story angle. Our readers want to understand how you built this success while maintaining complete anonymity. Walk me through the strategy. It wasn't strategy initially, I said, aware everyone was listening. My first major client was an actress going through a difficult divorce. She wanted a dress for an awards show but didn't want press attention on her designer choices. I made her a gown, she looked incredible, and she told me the anonymity was the best part. And that became your business model, Veronica said, taking notes. Words spread among people who valued privacy. Royalty who didn't want their fashion choices politicized. Executives who wanted quality without flash. Celebrities tired of being walking advertisements. I built a reputation for discretion and quality. The less I sought publicity, the more my clients valued what I offered. Diane stared at me like I was a stranger. You've dressed royalty? 3 royal families across Europe and the Middle East, Veronica answered. Rachel has become the go-to designer for women who want to look powerful without the circus of Fashion Week. Her waiting list is 18 months, and her pricing starts at $15,000 for a basic cocktail dress. Margaret looked at the emerald dress again. $15,000? That particular piece is closer to $25,000, Veronica said. The beadwork and custom silk put it in couture territory. My mother had tears in her eyes. Rachel, why didn't you tell us? Really tell us? I tried, Mom. But you'd already decided what my life was. You saw me working from home and assumed I was struggling. You never asked about revenue, employees, or clients. You just saw garage business and stopped looking. Olivia was holding the emerald dress now, really seeing it for the first time. I called this your hobby. In front of everyone. You didn't know, I said. I should have asked. She looked at the dress. You spent 40 hours on this? For me. You're my sister. Of course I did. Resolution. Veronica left after an hour, promising to send a car tomorrow morning. The photographer took a few shots of me with the emerald dress for context, then they departed. The bridal shower continued, but the energy had completely changed. The women who'd dismissed me an hour ago now wanted to know everything. How I sourced materials, where my studio was, whether I was taking new clients. I'm not actually, I said. The waiting list is full through next year, and I'm being selective about new clients after that. Diane approached carefully. Rachel, I owe you an apology. My comments about garage businesses and hobby work. I was incredibly dismissive. I had no idea what you'd actually built. You made assumptions based on incomplete information, I said. It happens. But I should have asked. I should have been curious rather than condescending. She looked at the dress Olivia was still holding. This is extraordinary work. I can see that now. Margaret was showing her friends something on her phone. My designs from various red carpets. I can't believe we were telling her to shop at Nordstrom, she said, half laughing, half mortified. My mother pulled me aside. I'm proud of you. I should have said that years ago. I should have asked real questions about your work instead of worrying you weren't following a traditional path. Olivia approached last, still holding the emerald dress like it was glass. I'm sorry. For all of it. For dismissing your work, for letting them mock your hobby, for never asking real questions. You didn't know. I should have known. You're my sister. I should have paid attention. She looked at the dress. Will you help me understand? Really understand what you do? I'd like that. The Vogue cover story came out 6 weeks later. The response was overwhelming. Interview requests from every major outlet, speaking invitations from fashion schools, collaboration offers from luxury brands. I turned down most of it. Publicity had never been the goal. Olivia's wedding was 2 months after the cover. I wore one of my own designs, a champagne gown with subtle architectural details. Several guests asked who designed it. I told them, and watched recognition dawn as they realized they were looking at the fashion's secret power player from the magazine. Diane introduced me to every important guest, a complete reversal from the shower. This is Rachel, Olivia's sister. She's the designer Vogue profiled. Olivia pulled me aside during the reception. Thank you for the dress. I wear it constantly now. I tell everyone my sister made it and I explain what that actually means. You don't have to explain. I do. Because I spent years not understanding, not asking, not seeing what was right in front of me. I won't make that mistake again. She hugged me carefully, mindful of our dresses. Both couture, both made with care, both representing what happens when craft meets passion and hard work meets opportunity. The garage where I'd started was long gone, replaced by a studio that hummed with activity and creativity. But the principles that had guided me remained: quality over quantity, discretion over publicity, craftsmanship over celebrity. The women at the bridal shower had learned what everyone learns eventually. Never assume you know someone's story. Never dismiss something because it doesn't fit your definition of success. Never confuse invisibility with insignificance. And never, ever underestimate what someone can build when they value the work more than the recognition.